It's a love story, not I love you, I hate you, I need you love story. It's an escapism meets ecstasy kind of love story. This is staring at my ceiling at 3 a.m. and then doom scrolling death tolls and police lynchings to anxiety, 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 as I finally fall asleep to the glow of Thrasher mixtapes. The silence is frightening because words can't break it. Thoughts get lost in the distance. The impending dawn is a million miles away. This is that love story. It's not the end. The silent destruction is over. Maybe it's the night air. Maybe it's the song on my playlist, the sound of the stove clicking on at the beginning of Shook One's Part 2. I fell in love with skateboarding during the pandemic and made a film about it. This is that love story.
It's not like you're flying, but you're kind of just sliding along this. If this was a map, you're just this little dot that gets to move just parallel to the surface of the earth. And you just get to sort of fly on the ground a little bit. And, sometimes you can go too fast and eat shit, but right before you do that is like so fun. It's exhilarating. My name is Lauren Sanders, and I'm a non-binary musician and video editor living in Austin, Texas, and I love skating. Well, during COVID and after COVID, the world was traumatized, and I was personally traumatized. Everyone was, I think. My mom died right before COVID started. And then I went into a pandemic, living alone. And my brother had died 3 years before my mom died. So coming out of the pandemic and having basically spent a year by myself grieving over my brother and my mom, I just really needed something to focus on and distract and take my mind into more of just a place of meditation, really.
My name is Brad Robertson. I'm the sole proprietor here at Texas Skate Shop, trying to spread awareness and skateboarding in the community at large. To open a skate shop in a town of 5,000, there's not much foot traffic. And a lot of it is building that core community. So in owning the skate shop, there's a lot more that goes into it than I thought originally in my dedication to the community. I'm more invested in the community because I am a hub of skateboarding here. Gilmer is a really small, tight-knit community with not a lot of skateboarders, but we're changing that, and we're bringing skateboarding to people, putting it to the forefront, if you will. Skateboarding is fun, and in one word, if I had to choose one. It's all-encompassing expression of freedom. When I started skating and I first learned how to ollie, it opened up a completely different door, an avenue towards things that I thought were possible. You think about taking an inanimate object, laying still, and then you can manipulate this with 2 feet to get it to come off the ground. And I learned how to heel flip, and then that was like, oh my gosh. The physics of now taking said inanimate object, putting it in the air, and then flipping it and controlling the landing and catching it. Then again, another door was open. That's all skateboarding's been, really, is just a series of doors that you have to accomplishments and achievements you set for yourself and you obtain.
Nailed it.
There was this time during the pandemic when I was looking at my daughter and I was hoping she wouldn't turn out like me. I'm not really sure why I even thought that. There was always a sense of despair, isolation, depression, but when I was on the skateboard, I didn't feel any of those things. I just knew it made me feel good. So I was going to try and skate as much as possible. I started skating during the pandemic and it really took. It was something I tried when I was 13 but gave up because it was too hard. But now skateboarding got me out there, out of my head and off my phone. I just knew it was helping. I didn't know what it was that made me feel good. I just knew I sucked at this, but it made me want to get better at it. I didn't give in to despair as much. Skateboarding was this beacon, and I was just going to move towards it inch by inch.
There's just a lot going through your mind when you've lost someone, and if you can go out and actually just have moments to yourself where you're in nature and you're skating and you're just not thinking about all your problems. I have a mood disorder, and I also have like attention deficit. And so that's kind of a scientific way of saying like I struggle with mental health a lot. And like one of my friends told me that he was like, you probably have 10 thoughts before you even say something. And I was like, doesn't everyone do that? But since it's like that for me, when I'm skating, all I'm thinking about is skating. And for me, exercise is really, really important for my mood. When you exercise, you literally are making a drug for your brain to feel happy. And for me, when I feel bad now, I picked up finally the habit of getting out and doing something physical. And most of the time it's skating.
Skateboarding is not a hobby, and it's not a sport. Skateboarding is a way of learning how to redefine the world around you. It's a way of getting out of the house, connecting with other people, and looking at the world through different sets of eyes. For most people, when they saw a swimming pool, they thought, let's take a swim. But I thought, let's ride it. When they saw a street, they would think about driving on it. I would think about the texture. I slowly developed an ability, I think, to look at the world through totally different means. I had a whole other idea of what was happening.
Walking down the street, I wouldn't talk to this guy. I mean, not just because he's another dude, but like, because I don't do that. I don't, hey man, my name's Brad, you know? Or, you know, but we'd both skateboard, so our paths crossed. Yet we're hanging out every weekend or every other weekend now. And it's just like, it's weird how relationships begin and start just by the commonality of a piece of wood with urethane and metal.
In the culture that we live in this area, it is a very Southern culture, very cattle or agriculture or wild game influenced. These kids are generationally trained, this is what you do. So to bring them something that's alternative, they don't know how to respond around here. So it's really generational. They've seen us now. We exist. So guys that are 37, 38 years old look and they say, hey, that's the skater kids, they're fine. That's what they do. But around here, getting people to change and step outside of the ordinary and go into a subculture is really difficult for us because we're misunderstood here. We're not looked at as baseball, football players, rodeoers. We're looked at those skater kids.
Egalitarian, man, I can't say that enough. It is the only egalitarian thing I've ever been a part of. Doesn't matter, you know, race, gender, sexual orientation, socioeconomic background you're from, where you live, it doesn't matter. All of it washes away when you step foot on that. Your entire community, everybody in the skateboard that has a skateboard or is striving to move forward on that board can recognize somebody trying. And then that garners the respect from the community. You belong.
We're all different people. I listen to rap. He listens to this weird Radiohead stuff, which I'm down with, I'll listen to core punk.
I am core punk. No.
So when I started skating, I realized that there is a certain amount of mystique around it. So you notice that once you have a skateboard and you're carrying it around or someone sees you going down the street, they kind of consider you a little bit differently. It's like, oh, so you're also a skater. It's like, I guess I am. And it's not a bad identity to be a part of because something about it just makes people look.
What has skateboarding given me? Everything. Seriously, everything. When I'm out there, I feel like I can do anything. And I'm not used to that sensation or feeling, but it's there and it's real.
Skateboarding teaches tenacity and it also teaches problem-solving skills in a way that you fall and you immediately get a reprimand, right? It's like, ow, that hurt. Okay, you get back up and you try it again, and ow, that hurt. But it's you and you're getting real-time feedback. You are the computer that's having to deduce everything. And the more that you learn and the more that you experience, you're able to then take that to greater and bigger obstacles.
And there was a study, I believe it was done in Harvard, and there was a professor that he was a skateboarder. And of course, there's not backing funding of something as large as, say, yoga, right? Not in the skateboarding world. But he took the population of skateboarders in Harvard with the population of non-skaters and adjusted mental health, and he equivalated it to yoga, which is 60% more effective than Prozac, one of the #1 mental healths out there. And it showed that middle-aged men that skateboarded was substantially happier than men that don't. You have to do something to get trauma, to get energy stored in your body out. Oftentimes it's stored in the hips. Skateboarding's lots of hip movements. You get to release these things that happen to you every single day, every single week. You get to go out there, you get to release these chemicals, you get to stretch yourself. And if you're having a bad day, throw yourself on the ground, take a lick, stand back up and do it again. It keeps me alive. It keeps me alive.
Once I started skating last year, I could tell it was something I wasn't gonna just put down and quit. You kind of realize that the only way to do it is just to do it to death and over and over and over, because once you actually get close to what you're trying to do, that's when you're like, oh, it's working. It was all worth it. And it was fun too while you were doing it, because you're constantly wondering, am I gonna get it this time? Am I gonna get it this time? That's when time goes away. And that's really maybe even more important for me than other people, is to just have something that I do all the time that is a natural way to just keep my mood even and keep my anxiety low.
The magic of skateboarding is that it's a mode of transportation and a tool for play, a tool for discovery, and a tool to teach perseverance. It's good for the mind and the body. It's fun, and it can change someone's life. I overcame the doomsday panic of a global pandemic through a wooden toy.
Like I said, I dropped out when I was 16, so having something to do other than hanging out with older people who aren't making the best decisions, skateboarding has always been there. I used to camp at the skate park because I knew if I went and ran with my other homies, I was probably gonna go to jail or something. Which I've been to jail, but I go to jail maybe more. So, skateboarding and my mental health, like, you know, I got a kid now, I got a house, I got a beautiful girlfriend, and skateboarding keeps me out of trouble, 100%.
If I didn't skateboard, I don't know where I would be. Skateboarding, I don't know, skateboarding's like, that's where I'm like stressed out or like pissed or mad, or I thought just go skate. It's just my happy place, and what I like to do is like, yeah, it's painful, fall on concrete, fall on coping, a lot of shit, you break bones, we just get back up and do it again.
It bleeds over into just about everything that you do in life. You can relate it back to skateboarding. Your success, your failures, how many failures you have before you have a success, learning how to cope with your failures, and then get around them and then figure a way over them.
I'm still going. And there's been times when I didn't want to keep going, but just like with skating, where I don't want to give up because I want to be something and I want to be able to do the things that I see and I look up to. I want to be able to achieve something for myself in skating and just in life.
I will toil for years and years, give you muscle tone and tears, overcome and flay all fears, leaving me a beast for thee, and at home on Wednesday morn, astride my horny horn, you'll be in glory born, and I will be a beast for thee. Happily, a beast for thee. Quietly, a beast for thee.